wolves begin to howl. From somewhere between the paranormal and the abnormal, you're entering into the Parabnormal.
Well, I heard you loud and clear. I heard that you wanted another ghost show and you wanted it quick. So we have turned around a ghost show for you. And actually, we're headed out to the Oregon Ghost Conference in Seaside, Oregon next weekend. We'll be doing the show there on Friday and Saturday. Hope to see those of you in the area or from near or far who can join us for that event. It's always a good time. We met many friends out at that event and talked with many paranormal investigators and experiencers and enthusiasts throughout the years. It's interesting what's going on when we talk about ghostly encounters. Imprints of the past are often believed to surface in hauntings as ghostly activity, which we can recognize for some of the most classic of paranormal phenomena. Think about apparitions, maybe voices, objects moving. You just feel things are a bit off. The energy is amiss. Well, these experiences, they really just suggest that there are unseen forces that may be closer than we realize. I wonder if there are spirits all around us, spirits of all different varieties, and whether or not they are influencing or just observing. Some might say they are influencing, manipulating. Others might perceive these to just be observers, looking after our goodwill. These could be lost family members just coming back to check on us, or a silent observer, maybe someone who we have looked up to who has passed, just coming back around again to check up on us. I mean, there could be a variety of reasons why these hauntings are happening, and it's not always associated with a death, although death is certainly one of the main reasons that these are happening, why people are seeing things out of the corner of their eyes, why they're hearing things, why they're witnessing objects seemingly move on their own, why sometimes they're getting panic attacks in locations. So on the program tonight, we're going to talk about exactly this, investigating paranormal activity, about going into locations that may have some of this at play here. Whether we want to call it residual energy or whatnot. Our first guest tonight is Doreen Mary Bray, founder and lead investigator of Ghost Busting International. For more than 40 years, she has worked as a naturopathic therapist, teacher, and shamanic practitioner, helping people understand and resolve paranormal disturbances in homes, businesses, and land. Doreen is the author of The Angel and the Avatar, which is inspired by decades of real-life encounters with what we might say mysteries beyond ordinary perception. And here she is on Into the Paranormal. Doreen, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. It's wonderful being here.
My pleasure to have you here. You go into these locations where others run out, right?
Exactly, and I love it.
How long have you been doing this?
I began seeing spirits when I was still in the crib. So for me, this world is natural. I actually began investigating occurrences when I was around 18 or 19, when some friends came to me with house issues, things rattling in the night, sounds of someone walking down the hallway, doors slamming open or closed. So that's when I thought, oh, they don't know what's going on. I probably do. I should check it out.
So this was your childhood. There was nothing much ordinary to you. It just seemed like something that was more natural.
Actually, I couldn't understand why people didn't perceive what I saw. So I found it a little bit uncomfortable. that I was seeing things that they could not agree with.
And
we'll,
why were
we'll
you,
call it that.
why were you seeing what others could not? You had some ability or what?
I was born seeing energy around people, inside people, seeing beings following them or just hanging around them. So this has always been my reality. I thought everybody was the same. It was only when I went to school that I realized I was different.
Did you talk about it with your schoolmates?
That's what happened. And yeah, so as you well know, kids can be brutal.
They didn't think you were telling the truth or what?
More along those lines, yes.
Right. Did you, though, find that others were having similar experiences to yourself?
I've never found anybody that saw to the depth that I do. And I say see, but it's a full range experience. It's sensations, see, smell, hear, taste. It's a knowingness, a full bodied experience, along with many times a soul song, which then I can trace to past lives or future life or wherever that essence came from.
Have these encounters disturbed you?
Not at all. To me, they're part of reality. They're just a different slice of existence.
So you've never had one of those moments where you wished something didn't happen to you?
No, I never really thought of it as happening to me. These experiences just happen in this planet, probably on multiple planets at the same time. So I don't take these sort of things personally.
Yeah. There is a difference, though, wouldn't you say, in the different kinds of things people experience? Which we would maybe put under the umbrella of the paranormal, right? Some experience different things, and they also have different terminologies for what they experience.
Yes, you're 1,000% correct. There are what we would call ghosts, which are usually people that have passed on, that sometimes it's because of a tragic accident or suicide, where they can't quite grasp that they're not part of this reality anymore. So they linger until they have resolved certain personal issues. Sometimes it's because they don't want to leave their kids behind, or like they feel responsible in some way. But those ghosts are, and they can stick around a building also for hundreds or thousands of years. And then there's also the ones that have died, say, in a military battle, that can linger thousands of years, even just like a recall, a reprint over and over and over again, where they're reliving those same experiences. Those I would call ghosts. But there's also bleed-throughs, other realities that where the veil is thinner, where we perceive energies. We are a ghost to them. They are a ghost to us. They're living out their lives. Got to pause.
Doreen Mary Bray with us tonight. I'm Jeremy Scott.
Into the Paranormal.
I'm Jeremy Scott. Ghost encounters tonight on the program. Perhaps you've seen one, felt one, sensed one. 503-389-3131, or you need some advice on how to get one of these out of your homes. Our guest is Doreen Mary Bray, and her website, by the way, is ghostbustinginternational.com. Founder and lead investigator of Ghost Busting International. You were saying something before the break. It does appear that maybe we appear to them as they appear to us, right?
Exactly. Can I give you an example?
Please do.
So I was called to a job by this woman who, during the night, she felt presence in her bed. She said that it was always at nighttime. She would get into bed, everything would be fine, and then she felt like somebody was crawling into bed with her and would lie next to her. And then she said after a moment or two, it felt like something else was jumping in bed, like a small animal of some sort. And she was quite perturbed, of course. And she said a lot of times in the morning, she'd get up and cupboard doors in the kitchen would be open. All kinds of random things were happening. So I went in to investigate. And that evening, I stayed in her bedroom while she went to bed so I could see what was going on. And what I noticed was it wasn't a ghost at all. It was actually an old man that in his realm, in his reality, he was getting into bed. He had just lost his wife, and to him, it was his wife that was lying next to him as a ghost. And the little creature was his little dog that would jump up into the bed. Well, at nighttime, he would get up and shuffle down the hallway, go down to the kitchen, open up some doors, do some things down there, go to the bathroom, come back into the bed. So this was all the disturbances, was this man who lived in an alternate reality.
And again, how do we know that that was his, who those people were? Or who those ghosts were in the afterlife? How did we come to that determination?
Well, to me, it wasn't a ghost. It was just another slice of reality, because reality has multiple layers. This is the slice that we recognize by the vibration, the frequency that we resonate at. But another existence, another slice creation is side by side. So what was happening was the veil was for some reason thinner in her home. And so she perceived this person as a ghost, but it was actually a living person in his own reality. But she, to him, was a ghost. He believed it was his wife. So he didn't mind snuggling into bed with the ghost. So they were both ghosts to each other, but both solid.
But one was living in
realities.
One was living and one was dead, or what?
No, they were both alive in their own realities.
Interesting. So that challenges the perception that ghosts are the spirits of dead people.
Not necessarily. It just says that there are alternate realities beside the one that we perceive.
Okay. Do you think?
So I asked her if she wanted me to close the veil, because this is also possible where the veil is thinner. We just, there's rituals that we can do to stop this bleed through. And she said, no, now that I know what it is, it's okay. I'm fine with it.
So some of these ghosts are living entities.
Some of them, maybe, yes.
Interesting. What about evil entities? Do those exist?
There was a time I used to do exorcisms, and I have seen some things that, there are beings that can interfere with our experience. Normally, we have to have an opening for them to come into our lives, and certainly an opening to come into our bodies. Alcoholics, that's a normal route. Even in the Bible, it says if you're not home, something else will invade your home. So, we always want to stay present to ourselves. And any drug or something like alcohol that takes you out of body experience like that, where you are not fully present to yourself, it's leading you to possible invasion.
Okay, what should someone do if they have one of these encounters?
An encounter is one thing. If it's in your home, it will not necessarily jump into you. Normally, these energies are invited. Sometimes it's because a person feels weak or vulnerable, and they want the strength to stand up against their aggressor. So they call in these dark energies to make them feel stronger. I've seen that with incest victims. So I understand why they opened that door. But if a negative energy is in your home, it's quite easy to get rid of it. It can be just putting salt in the corners of your home, saying things like only angels walk here. It's affirming positive statements, positive feelings. It's victimization that creates the problem.
So we can rid properties of these attachments, if we want to call them that.
1,000%, definitely. I've never seen anything that hasn't been shifted, any dark energy that hasn't been shifted either to light or. So there was this woman. She met this evil, well, we'll call him dark witch, and he did a blood ceremony with her. She, I think she was innocent. She didn't really know what she was doing, but basically she tied her soul to a satanic cult. And she came to me crying and saying, please help me. I need to get rid of this. I didn't know what I was doing. So I agreed. And I had a property in the woods. I went there and made a big bonfire on her behalf. I took some of her things to initiate her energy into the circle. And I started to make a large bonfire it had candles all around. And every time I lit the candles and lit the fire, it went out. I did everything to get this fire going. Nothing was damp. There was no wind, but it always blew out. The minute I tried to do the ceremony, I tried pouring gas on the wood. Nothing worked. It would shoot up right away, of course, when the match hit it, but then all the candles would blow out and it would blow out at the same time. So after about an hour of this, I sat there in the dark and I went, okay, there's a lot of darkness here. And what do I do? And I could feel the darkness moving closer and closer to my circle, or what I felt was a circle of safety. So I said, whoa. Okay, hold on. All of you, whoever is here, I sense your darkness. And now I would like you, just for a second, to turn your eyes inward and notice that there's a dot of light within you. And I want you to turn your eyes inward and move towards that dot of light. And I could sense that they were curious and they moved their energies toward that dot of light inside them. And the next thing, my fire and all the candles instantly went up. It was amazing. Everything was illuminated in that moment and they were gone.
Just like that.
So it's the yin,
and they never came back?
It's the yin and the yang. In the darkness, there is the light. In the light, there is the darkness. Yes, they never came back.
All right. Doreen Mary Bray with us tonight, ghostbustinginternational.com, her website. We'll have more, somewhere between the paranormal and the abnormal. I'm Jeremy Scott, into the Parabnormal.
There's a parallel universe.
It's haunted.
Parabnormal. It's part paranormal and part abnormal. There's nothing ordinary about what's on your speakers. Into the Parabnormal with Jeremy Scott.
Well, it's good to know that just because you bring something home, that you can't get rid of it. That's always the fear when you go to a haunted location, is that you may bring something home with you, some baggage that you didn't intend to. So you might need to call Doreen Mary Bray with Ghostbusting International. And so you come into people's homes and businesses and other locations to try to rid this location of the activity like we've been discussing tonight?
That's correct. The first thing we do is we go in and investigate each and every room. So we make a map. We look under stairwells, cupboards, you name it, and to get a clear idea of the activity that's happening. Of course, we also talk to the people who have had these disturbances. I was going to say witness them. Sometimes they witness them. Sometimes they just sense things. So we first go in, investigate everything, and also even the land, because a lot of times homes are built on land that has had really horrible things occur. So the ghosts will remain on the land, which means where the house is, now the house is haunted. And not just the land. So it's a full investigation all the way through before we decide what needs to be done. Again, it can be a ghost. It can be a bleed through. It can be a ley line that's passing through the house where energies are just moving through. Might have nothing to do with the location. So yeah, investigating is the first thing we do.
So what places and maybe areas in these locations are the most affected? Homes, hospitals, battlefields? What have you found?
I had a business at the Queen Elizabeth Health Complex, which what used to be an old hospital. And none of the students would go to the second floor because it's where all the operations occurred. And every time anyone went there, objects moved, chairs moved around, apparitions passed through bodies. You'd get this cold chill where your spine would stand up on end. It was quite intense. So I spoke to the people who were running the building when it was closed. I had a group of people that joined me, and we did a very large, I guess you could call it a clearing. Definitely not a seance, but it's where we held space for all of these energies to show themselves, reveal themselves, and then to help them to move off into an alternate dimension where they're supposed to go, basically. It was really quite an experience because everyone there could see the energy. Some people in the circle screamed, some were a bit upset about the whole thing, but it was really quite amazing to watch them go up and disappear into light. The next day, when I went to this building, I asked the guards at the door, I said, did anybody notice anything different when they came in? And the guard said, yeah, you know what? People were walking in and saying, what happened? Did you just paint or redecorate? What's different in this place? So people actually perceived, they didn't know what they were perceiving, but they could tell there was more light.
Okay, what do you call it to when you're expelling these entities or this energy from a location? Is it a clearing? Is it a cleansing? Is it an exorcism? Is it none of the above?
It can be all of the above. It depends what's there. So it can be, just healing a rift even between dimensions. It can be releasing, like say in the hospital, for example, these were trapped souls. Most of them didn't even really understand that they were dead. They were accident victims that arrived at the hospital dead on arrival or something like that. So that's helping them to move on and become, because I do believe that after we leave this life, we go into, we could call it heaven, an afterlife where the soul heals, every thought it has, it becomes that thought. And so these souls that are trapped need to go through this process where this healing occurs, and then they more than likely will return in a new body.
So would someone call you, basically inviting you to their location, and then what would you do before you arrive? Is there anything that happens before then, or you go in and you basically just kind of sniff it out?
If it's long distance, if it's not local, then I will stay with them on Zoom or, some kind of something like that, have a conversation. I can sense where the area they're talking about just through them. So I can get an idea of what's going on and whether we actually need to go there if there is really a problem. Again, if it's a bleed through, it may not be a problem. It could be just the alignment of the stars and the heavens at this particular time where they're experiencing what they believe is ghosts, but it may not be. So if it's from a battle, that's a whole different thing.
What is more common, the bleed through or the actual ghost?
What I get called up for more are ghosts, but bleed throughs are very common.
And do you treat those the same way, or are there different tools and techniques you use?
They're totally different. And it's just like if it's a ley line, again, that ley line has to be redirected or shut down so that it's no longer passing through that particular place in the home, maybe above the home, below it, it can be redirected temporarily. So,
I mean, how do you really get rid of it? Are you commanding whatever is at play here to move on? Because sometimes, suggestion is not powerful enough, or are there gadgets and gadgets, potions or something that come into play?
That sounds like a witch. So it can be symbols that need to be drawn on the floor, sea salt in the corners, smudging, crystal layout patterns. It's always involved with ceremony. That means my team and I will usually stand in a circle or stand on some sacred geometrical configuration, usually some sacred geometrical pattern, and we pull our resources, our energies together to help to open up a portal.
Okay, hold that thought. We'll be right back after this.
Into the Paranormal.
Talking about ghosts tonight on the program. Seemingly, there are ghosts all around us, maybe more than we realize. So what to do if you find yourself in a situation, whether it's a living spirit, a deceased spirit, or one in between? Yeah, you might need to reach out for some help if it reaches to such a level. From Ghostbusting International, Doreen Mary Bray with us tonight on Into the Paranormal. The idea would be then to collectively overpower whatever situation you're dealing with, it sounds.
That's one way of looking at it. I believe more it's about returning balance to the area. And when you're talking about ghosts and bleed-throughs and all these things, please don't forget that there's also angels.
Angels and fallen angels.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And we had a really large meditation one time, big bonfire, and one of the people took pictures while the meditation was going on. And after, when I blew up the pictures, I saw that there was this being standing right next to one of the participants. And in the picture, you could see it standing next to the person. And then the next shot, it took air. You could see wings on it. And then it took air above the fire, and you really saw wings. And then you saw it go farther off into space. So that was really quite amazing. It was obviously very clearly an angel.
You were saying you get together and you hope to open a portal. How does that go?
What do you mean?
Well, you said we hope to stand together, and the idea is to open a portal, and then we went to break.
From the last conversation. So the people and my team are all empaths. They're all sensitives. Each one of them have had experiences with spirits in the past. So they are already on a higher frequency than the average person. So I believe that that's important in this. So when we stand together, like it says in the Bible, when two or more gather in my name. So basically we create a voltage by holding hands and creating this energy vortex. And it's willed, the vortex is willed in. And a lot of times we will see the spirit standing next to us or, coming towards it. A lot of times there'll be a conversation, usually short, but where it's a thank you, or they'll say something about their past or their experiences before they jump into it. But I've never seen a spirit not go into it.
Do people report that the energy, the atmosphere changes after one of these, we want to call it a ritual?
We were called into a job. It was an old house in Montreal. It was probably a good 200 or 300-year-old place. At one time, it was an office where a doctor performed surgeries and stuff like that. But this day and age, the rooms were divided into different therapy rooms, and all of these people had their different practices there. And we were called in because they had nonstop disturbances, cold chills, hearing people walk up and down the halls when nobody was there, doors opening and closing. So we went in and we cleared the building. It was 4 floors, a huge space. I got pictures of beings. One was a little girl. It was quite interesting. We cleared the space. We cleared the people, the therapists who work there. The next day, they went there and they said, "Oh, it feels too empty." And they actually did a ceremony to call back some of the spirits.
Do you recommend that?
No, I thought that was a little bit crazy. But,
yeah.
Hey, his own.
You just got rid of it, but now it's a little too quiet, so you're asking for it to return. That's a new one.
Yeah.
That's a new one for me.
Yes, I agree. It was a new one for me.
If this is not dealt with, bad energy in one's home or place can build up. It can make people sick, right?
1,000, yeah, definitely. I feel that a lot of people do have illnesses because something is attached to them, or their home is built on where there are ghosts, there are remnants of energies that are unsettled. So the energy is unsettled, and our biology senses this unsettled energy, and it becomes unsettled. So, the sickness can be an issue.
What about paranormal activity that leaves a lasting impression and could be the result of dark magic or maybe dabbling in the occult? Is that common?
Yeah. We cleared out a building, and it was at one time a center for occult practitioners. And the person who bought the building opened a business, and the business people would go in the store and run out for whatever reason. She never really knew, but she knew there was something wrong. And it was because of this old energy that was in the building. And it did take us 3 or 4 visits to actually completely clear it, because we had to reverse the dark magic, which it's not the easiest. It's definitely possible. So these things do exist.
What about a Ouija boards? Is that something you recommend people dabble with? Maybe they want to have an encounter, and some have tried to do it with that method before, and it's only made the situation worse.
Yeah, I'm smiling because when I was 8 years old, I got my first Ouija board, and I used to play with it with a friend, and it was okay for me because I could see the spirits. And many times a spirit would come to talk, and I would say, "No, not you. No, go away. No, go away." If the average person doesn't see what's communicating with them, then they are opening up a door because they are inviting the spirit into their home, right? Well, they're communicating with it. So now they're reaching resonance with it. And if it is a dark spirit, then they could end up with some issues.
So people can take on this negative energy as much as locations can.
People can, locations can, and objects can.
What do you think is the biggest thing people could do to try to protect themselves and their homes from negative spirits? If they're not calling in someone like you, what would you recommend they do?
Well, the first thing, if they think that they have a problem in their home, they can fill a glass, half the glass with salt, sea salt preferably, the other half with water, so it's half and half. Stir it and then place it wherever you feel there's a draft or a odd sensation. And if the next morning it's dark, you have a problem. If it's the same color as when you put it there, your home is clear.
It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. That way you can detect. At least that way you have some evidence there's a problem as opposed to just imagining it or thinking it.
Right. Wow. Doreen, we really appreciate you coming on the program. Again, what's your website? How do folks reach out to you if they want to use your services to get some ghosts out of their life?
Yep, www.ghostbusting.com.
All right.
Ghostbustinginternational.com.
All right. And we've got that linked up on the website as well. And you have a book as well.
I do, and it will help people to understand why they're here. And as they go along with that journey, they'll understand spirits and that whole other realm that most people have no idea about.
And the name of that is?
The Angel and the Avatar.
All right. As they say, available wherever you find books, especially those on the paranormal variety. Appreciate your time, Doreen. It was awesome talking with you.
Thank you, Jeremy. It was a great joy.
Absolutely, my pleasure as well. We will continue in the next hour. We're going to go to Gettysburg and meet some ghosts when we continue. Somewhere between the paranormal and the abnormal, I'm Jeremy Scott. 503-389-3131. If you've had a ghostly encounter, we would love to hear about it. I know you've been waiting for the opportunity to tell me about your ghost story probably since last Halloween, which was a while ago. So you've got that opportunity tonight.
Into the Paranormal store is open. Show off our brand with all sorts of items in the store at paranormalradio.com.